And remember, recover, return, my brothers and sisters. And we're coming to you tonight. And by request of Maria, she asked me to read a little more every night from the Mysteries, the Worship of Love, Miguel Serrano. She wanted me to start here. Two cords of light lowered her coffin into the earth, and the coffin was open so I could see her face one last time. From beyond sleeping petals, through the wedding veil and the golden curls, the light she kept in this land watched me, and this light gave itself to me as a hand for the bedchamber of my blood, as fingers for the ordering of her heartbeats, fingers of light. But I wanted to leave when I heard her voice from far away or from within myself. I heard her saying to me, "Do not leave me alone. The wedding is near." Then, with no one, without trees, without her mother, alone, with the shadow of light in the full sun of midday, I felt we were married at the edge of her tomb. Yes, that blood I had given her just a little earlier before her death, thinking to resurrect her, and that I had murdered her because it was red blood for a pallid young woman. That blood was still alive in her, alive as light, as seed, because it was my blood flowing through her like a polishing cloth. My blood whose time has still not come, and she was returning my blood to me. Here is love. Here is the marriage. She returns it as heat, as the reminder, as the remainder, of energy that I felt passing from her death into my life, from her body to my essence. And this is why I have said that she was not buried in the earth, but in my soul, because together with returning my living blood, she also gave me the light of her dead blood. Something of her eternity belongs to me. The rites of marriage were fulfilled in the obscurity of the midday sun. They were fulfilled in the darkness of the midday sun, on the back of the light there where heat is cold and light is made ice. And we were already beyond the earth. Early as always, far away in the night of my land, I began to contemplate the flight of obscure birds that rising, impregnating each other with a soft transparency. And I watched those petals falling from the sun as in an autumn of light. That deserves me reading over. And I watched those petals falling from us from the sun as in an autumn of light. Then came the morning star. From the peaks of snow, pulsating deep as a candle, as music, and in the waves of sound, I also felt the color, the celestial light, and she felt to me as living there in the regions of color. She was in the morning star, and that she touched me with her fingers and consoled me with my hands, because my heart was beating there, and the star was in me, and her fingers in the center of distant music began to weave a tunic for my soul. They weaved, they weaved the ship, the keel, the sound, the shadow that can one day make us cross over the fearsome waters of eternity. But this is not how one should leave the earth. No. Earth needs us so we can transport her. The milk of the land should rise up through our souls in our feet, overflowing the cup, making the air increase, becoming the atmosphere itself. And this cannot be done without us. Moreover, she did not know the earth. She was conversing for so long with death, so absorbed in this history, that she did not have the time, that she did not have the life. Her life was so focused there, completely in death. That is why the crucified came. But now I, who have her with me forever, I thought to show her the world, to show her earth, fix my steps for her, my feelings, to organize my eyes so that she would see through them. And I started to walk, and I started to see. I saw so many things. I went to so many places. The great Irene Klatt, we love her so much. And let me take a quick break. All right, all right, all right. Coming to you tonight. Oh, shit. We are coming to you. And we want us together to agree. True self, help us remember, recover, return. Because our subject tonight is a very heavy mind control, superstition everywhere, right? It's an anti Bible study because you were born into it. It's not that the Bible's relevant to anyone, it's that you were born into it. Like my sister pointed out, most people are far more Christian who don't say they're Christian. They're far more Christian than they think. Their family values or whatever, uh, even your liberal types. And some might throw us in there because the political, religious attitude that had to be overthrown in Europe by Catholics, Christians. We've come to destroy you spiritually. We are going to win on another level in another world because we're the truth. That you did this. It's just that simple. The truth is, you did this to my ancestors in the name of this God. This was the actual situation. This is what happened. Um, there was all kinds of barbarism and horrible things that happened all through the world all the time. But leading up to my birth in 1969 was a very deceptive. Atmosphere was exactly nothing's new under sun, like Maria's favorite verse. But it was exactly that the hippies, I was born in 1969. The hippies were bad, the liberals were bad. And we got to make America great again, which was meant when we genocided the civilians in Germany and other countries to, make America so prosperous that the rich could get richer and the poor could have some crumbs. This is the honest to God's truth. And what we want to talk about is the main debate with our ancestors was these accusations of worshiping the devil, worshiping Satan, because our ancestors didn't recognize a confusing duality that God created Satan on both levels. They were like, we don't know what you're talking about. Yahweh is one of the gods. And on another level, um, we'll never agree he's the only God, and we must obey what you're forcing upon us. Because you're forcing it requires us to reject it. Because this is the real question our ancestors said. You believe in generational sin and curses, and we believe in live and let live for each individual person. And like today's Buddhist or, fake New Age, whatever, they'd be like, that's your ego. You need to bow down to God. God sent his son and he died so we could have eternal true love. That's the truth. And our ancestors were saying, that's your truth. And we believe to let, that you have the right to believe that. And we have the right to say that we're the ones who don't believe in harming someone because of what they believe. And you're the ones that have a book that says your God punishes the sons and daughters of the fathers and mothers, their sins, the fathers and mothers' sins, are punished upon the innocent children to the third and fourth. Guess he can't make up his mind. Sometimes it's third, sometimes it's fourth generations. So your great great grandpa, you could be being punished because what he did. This is what your fucking stupid Bible says. I didn't have time to look up the verse. My Bible is sitting here. I think you would be uh, better, me showing you my notes in my Bible than me actually looking up the stupid verse. I don't know if anyone could see that. And I think we both feel like Maria, who's here right now, and Lou, feel like there must be a word said about the treatment of women, the races, which is a past thing. You have to understand that. Even when Miguel Serrano is talking in his book, he's talking as Maria talking in, basically the information pre World War II, which she's here now, like she said, which would be about 4.5 million years ago. So when you hear him saying the inferior, superior, he doesn't mean the totality of each individual person of every race. He's saying the attitude towards women. We consider you inferior if you don't recognize the equality of women as a spiritual, eternal being, you know. And the sad fact, like Lou's here right now, the sad fact is Asia and Africa aren't paradises where women are treated, never were. And the religion that the Aryan red race, Indian Lou, went around the world teaching, he's the real Jesus. I don't know how many times I have to say that. People still are like, I'm talking about Lucifer, an actual man who lived in history. He is what the Jesus myth is based on, and why it's purposely twisted into a human sacrifice tale because of this. In real life, right before the rise of it, the reason that Atlantis, rose to the prominence and popularity that it did, it was because a magic religion based on experience and live and let live, no force, no fraud, spread across the world by the miraculous, individual powers, in some cases, of a man known as in India as Shiva. But like he said to me to my face, my real name is Lou. That's my real name. Lou. Lu. He was like, like Lou Maria, like Lou Maria. This is when I met him face to face. I met him and didn't know. I talk about a face to face, and people don't, it doesn't matter, and lock you in a mental institution, right? But I was woken up by a living gnome, and he was talking some shit, dude. Like, he was like half stand-up comedian, half fucking wise man, and just magic. Like I just can't even explain it. I can't explain how I knew there's no way in goddamn hella that I'm really 2.5 foot tall. And yet I lived it with my eyes open. I can't explain to you what was going on in the moment. I can't even explain to you how I knew that I was like I was like the receiver of this energy that was creating this through my imagination. But yet this motherfucker is standing there as real as a motherfucker. And I'm pinching my face, going, am I dreaming? I just woke up. I did exactly that. I did exactly. And he laughed at me. I looked at him. He laughed. And I didn't even think to wake up my wife, who was sleeping right there. Like I said, I told the story many times before. I thought it was her that was, poking on me. And I come to look and find out it's the garden gnome dude. And I didn't. I didn't wake up my wife because part of his magic was to say, "Buddy," and this is how he said it to me. He was like, he didn't say anything. He just kept tapping me until I like fully woke up and looked at him. Cause he tapped me and I thought it was my wife and I went like, "What?" Like I was mad, like I was crabby, and I was like, you know, I was thinking this is my only day off. I don't know what the hell happened last night. Why can't I sleep? Why are you waking me up? But he didn't say anything. He just kept tapping. And in my mind I was like, I hope this is good. And I also thought maybe it's my daughter, like something's wrong. I kind of got scared for just a split second. And I sort of jumped. I was laying flat on my stomach. And I kind of rose up quick and looked over. And I just instantly touched my face and was like, am I fucking dreaming? There's a 2.5 foot dude. He's like this tall, dude. He's like, I don't know how, I guess that's like 2.5 foot or something. Fully fucking dressed, a giant white beard, just blue eyes, fucking light blue jacket, red hat, and just smiling at me too, like, buddy, I swear this is how I got up and looked at him. He said, Joe, good morning. He said, I woke you up because you got to take a piss. He just reeled that out right away. And that caught me. That's why I didn't wake up my wife, because that caught me like, yeah, how'd you know? And he's literally like, I'm going to help you get down from the bed. And I'm like, what? Help me get down from the bed. That just entered my mind like, what the fuck? I'm trying to like process it. I'm thinking like, dude, I gotta be dreaming. Like I'm gonna wake up from this dream just any second. And my wife's with her back to me, sleeping, and I talking out loud as far as I know. I am talking out loud. He telepathically said to me, "I put your wife to sleep. She's not getting up." I swear. He said, "I'm just here to help you get out of bed and take a piss since you are a fairy like me." I kind of I kinda laugh, like, that's funny, he called me a fairy. I mean, it's growing up in the '80s, that's, well, like, you're gay, and he looked at me and laughed. He looked at me and smiled like, "Come on, I'm a fairy. You don't know what a fair ye is." And he said to me like, "Fair yay," like yay west. And he's like, "The main thing here," I mean, he's practical as can be. "The main thing here is to help you get off the bed. I don't want you to break your leg." I'm like, "Break my fucking leg? Like, what are you fucking talking?" He's like, "You could very awkwardly just fall off the bed because you still think you're 6 foot tall." I was like, "Okay." And no shit, I can't logically explain to you how this happens. I can tell you what I did the night before, which is impossibly, I've never heard anyone else do it ever in their goddamn nigga ass life. I drank 10 grams of Amanita muscaria mushroom with 3.5 grams of very potent white kratom. I think I actually made the kratom in a coffee maker with a coffee filter because it was powder, and I just added that to the Amanita muscaria tea, or maybe I can't remember. I think I did that. I know I had no way of getting. She told me, "Can you just get the kratom leaf?" And I was like, "No, I can't find it. It's only powder." I had no. This was I think the week before I did like 1 gram of kratom in in a mushroom tea or something. I can't even remember, but this was really the first time I ever did kratom. And you don't do kratom. Kratom is a nutritional, thing. Great for allergies and other things. And along the way, you start to realize something else is going on. That's kind of the lesson that I got from this whole thing. This was in 2013. It was right around April, May 2013. Right? You understand what I'm trying to say? There's a practical thing that can be applied to your life that, for real, people are testifying to you like me. God forbid anyone would make up something so serious because of this principle I'm going to talk about. That's why I'm telling you this. This isn't art. I really, this really happened to me. Just like my granddaughter, her saying uh, to me, "I met a fairy by the tree." And she's telling me, and I say to her, "This is look, I almost did the same thing to her what people did to me when I was telling people when I was 7 years old, I seen a UFO in my backyard. They're not scary aliens." She said to me, "Grandpa, Papa, I met a fairy, a real fairy." And she's telling me, and I interrupt her, and I'm like, "You were dreaming?" And she like looked puzzled for a minute. And she was like, I don't know. It was like the first time someone said to her, "Were you dreaming?" Because she wasn't. In my fucking retarded mind, even though I had been through this, assumed she was dreaming. This is how fucking whack I am. I admit it. But I'm learning. I'm fucking learning every fucking day, probably till the day I die, yeah, right? I don't know. I know one thing, that I did humble myself and realize you're an idiot. Let her tell her story. Nigga, maybe she wasn't dreaming, right? Because I'm like, she's 5 years old. She doesn't take mushrooms. How would she be in touch with the astral world, you know? Totally forgetting when I met a real life gnome who said he was a fairy, that I also wasn't on mushrooms. I was on nothing. I mean, 3 or 4 hours after you do this, you're just completely normal. It's not like you're drunk and you're hungover or whatever. It's just, I don't know if people understand the difference. But I wasn't fucking high in any way. Not anyway. I was pinching and she I had to basically straighten myself out and you know, come to the realization, motherfucker, reality can be bent. The God of this world. My explanation to why this happened to me and happened to her is that Lou, this dude who's here right now, and I don't mean in spirit or whatever, I mean as an individual person, is imagining the world. I know that it seems impossible. Just like you're eternal, seems impossible. Just like you're living in a matrix, one day, millions of years from now, you'll say, ain't that crazy when we entered that Earth holographic world, how real we thought it was? It will all be like a night out on the town, and you talk about later. Can you believe I was married to that lady? We were so not alike, or whatever. Or we were so alike and we weren't true love. Or I found her and she was. I'm not limiting anything to anyone, right? We're coming to you, Vril, powered warrior initiation. Um, Back to my granddaughter, right? She said no, uh, no. She was confused for a second, and she said no, no, I wasn't dreaming. She said no. She said I kind of thought maybe I was dreaming, but I wasn't dreaming because I was playing with her sister, she said. I was outside playing like it was a regular day, she was trying to say. And she was saying, I took the baby for a walk because they have dolls, you know, babies. And she's like, I said to the baby, like, I'll take you to see the tree, to see the big tree. She said, I went over there and I thought it was a neighbor boy dressed in like a Halloween costume. And she said, he said his name was Lucas and that he was a fairy and that I knew it was unbelievable, but that he lived inside of the tree, which was really like a door into another world. Look, she's 5 years old trying to explain to me Vril, trying to explain to me multi-dimensional. Why is the universe multi-dimensional? Because you are. Because you are. There's no life out there on other planets. There's no aliens. There's only you. You're out there. And 100 billion other essences. And like Maria said, that's enough for eternity. 100 billion individual people make up eternity. And my granddaughter couldn't explain how, like I couldn't explain how. I'm trying to draw these parallels. Couldn't explain how the little boy, she said, I thought he was like a neighbor. Said he lived in the tree, and that right here, she showed me where, was a door inside the tree. But that actually magic would have to shrink us down to go in the tree. And he said, do you want to go? I know how to do that magic. And she said, I said, how long will I be gone? And, you know, she's 5, you know. And I've told this story before, but she went inside and she lived. She wasn't dreaming. And some 7 years later, that was 2017, or yeah, some 7 years later, I am standing before, um, I'm standing in a room out of my body before this, on the side of, actually, on the left side of this dude who looks remarkably like Shiva, like the shirt I was wearing that night. Because Maria, I had no idea we would ever, really live to talk about this. Seems funny to say. But had shown up to my house and was like, hey, you have that Shiva shirt? I'm like, yeah. She's like, I think you should wear that. Every once in a while in the ritual, we would discuss, what we were wearing. And she stressed to me that she wanted me always to be comfortable, but she also was kind of saying to me, but what you wear does mean something if you want it to mean something. And I was looking at her, and she has some very new wavy makeup on, like going all the way across her face, like this pink, light blue, white, purple, of course, a lot of purple. And she was like, you should wear that Shiva shirt. And like a half hour later, I am out of my body standing by a dude that looks too much, way too much like the dude on the shirt, the statue of Shiva. And like my first thought was magic. You knew what was going to happen, which I would I said to her, which you have always been telling me. And okay, right after October 7th, 2023, and the start of the Palestinian genocide, the genocide of the Palestinian people, right after that, she knew I was, very discouraged and bummed. She kept saying to me, "But Joseph, let me tell you, for you personally, I know the world sucks. I am crying with you over exploded children. At the same time, Joseph, I have to tell you that the best is yet to come. You're not going to believe what's going to happen." That's exactly what you'd say to me. The best is yet to come. And I'd look at her and go, "Really? Like, okay, if you say so. Only you would I believe on that." And you're not, I mean, she said probably 5 times to me between October 7th, actually October 5th for us in 2023, and May 5th, 2024. She probably said to me 5 separate times, completely out of my body, "You're not going to believe what's going to happen." And I was like, "Can I ask? Like, what's that? What do you mean?" She's like, "I no, you can't ask. I'm just telling you. This is I've seen it from another fucking level. It's going to happen, and you're not gonna believe what's gonna happen." And it was crazy because it was like in one night, like I had no idea the fullness of what was happening. But literally in one night, like everything leading up to that night was fulfilled. And I had no, I feel like a dumb blonde in that, and I'm not blonde at all. Um, but in the way of like, I didn't really know because I was like caught up in my own, personal health struggles. Sad to say. But like I described, it started out with this large Shiva looking 10-foot dude telling me I'm Jah. And there were certain prayers, Joe, that you prayed in the name of Haile Selassie, Jah Rastafari. And because you like psychically knew about that word and believed in that word, Jah, I answered those prayers, every single one of them. And what's crazy is this was, you know, not the answer to a prayer, but the answer to a prophecy. The best is yet to come. You're not going to believe what's going to happen. And literally, literally, to myself, I kept saying on accident, "I can't believe this is happening." And he's giving me like a monologue, like a speech, and saying, like, "I'm Ja." And I'm like, dumbfounded, man. And I'm like, and I look at Maria and she's like, "Joe, Jah's not Yahweh. It's all fiction." Like, Joe, don't take it literal now, because I'm like, "Jah?" I'm like, "Did you say your Jah?" Nigga, please. I literally, he read my fucking mind. I never said a word. Never did my mouth say a word. I wasn't dare gonna make a fool out of myself and say anything, but he could hear my fucking thoughts clearly by his expressions on his face. He's talking and looking at me going like, "I hear your thoughts while I'm talking. I know you're tripping out on me saying I'm Ja. I would trip out too if I was you." And he said, I answered those prayers, did I not?" And I couldn't move my mouth, but my mind said, "You're telling the story, buddy. You're exactly right." That's why I thought Ja was, and I'm getting, I'm kind of getting a little I'm getting a little self conscious, like, because I'm saying to Ja, you answering my prayers is the reason I believed in Ja. And I look at Maria like, what the fuck is going on, lady? And she's like, this is my teacher. This is my God. This is Lou. And I look back at him and he's like, I'm Ja. Ja in May. The Force. May the 4th really was with you. And I literally, my first words were, Ja in May. I didn't even mean to say it. My thoughts came out of my mouth. Ja in May. And they laughed hysterically. And I'm like, why is that funny? I don't blame people for tuning out right now and being like, man, motherfucker, we've heard you tell this story, and yeah, your sister and blah blah. You talked to her later that day, but you have to understand, this is the synchronicity, Miguel Serrano. And look, it's become a parody. It's literally become of like, who fucking cares at this point? Like, when a gun's to your head for so long, you just worn out. Like the other day, I have a shirt, with Julian Assange with like an American flag over his face. It says like "Free Julian Assange." I thought, where the fuck is Julian Assange? And like a fucking voice. I think this happened to me in my ritual. A voice immediately answered me and was like the same place Ezra Pound is. Was. Be like, what are you talking about? Ezra Pound, the greatest American poet, hands down, Gal Serrano says. They put him in a mental institution, tortured him with chemicals and shit for fucking years and years, like 12 years or something, 15 years. And when he came out, he didn't talk at all until Miguel Serrano went and seen him. True story. And I felt like I was living that and watching that, of like, everything becomes such a parody. There's no reason to even speak anymore. It's like, dude, niggas can't understand what I'm talking about. It's like too creative for their minds or something. But this happened to me nevertheless. And Lou and Maria's here. They're like, just keep going with what you remember. Who cares if you're repeating yourself? And in that moment that I was saying, what is so funny? Like Maria said, this is the manifest moment. in the book knows when the she has been out of the egg for so long that he comes face to face with the he, and the he comes face to face with the she. And he can't really speak from her perspective, but there was a moment where he said he completely, totally did not recognize her. And there was a moment where I totally did not know. First of all, I didn't mean to say Ja in May. I just repeated what he said on accident out loud, right? Which Maria, she said, Joseph, that was the most magic thing because your true self predicted that. Because why I had the shirt on, why Maria came early that night, was this was my graduation ceremony where I was told by the actual person who has the choice that when you die, the thing your mother has shown you will not repeat and happen again because you're going home to Venus. Later that night, he would ask me, maybe it was the next week, because he was there every week after this. He said to me, "You're going home. I, I know how much you've suffered. It's okay to celebrate. It's okay to know that it's real. It's okay to accept that this is real, that you are going home. You're not going to come back here. You're not going to be a child again. You don't have to be born. People have no idea how scary you think dying is scary. They're trying to tell me over and over being born is much scarier. Taking your first breath in this world is much scarier than your last. And taking a breath in the vril inner earth is much easier. The first breath in the vril hollow earth is much easier than the first breath in the matrix. In other words, they're trying to say to me, and I'm saying to you, like you've already done the hardest thing. Not saying it's easy to die. A lot of people don't know they die. It's so easy. I've been reading to you Irene, Clat Serrano's death of tuberculosis. I believe that's what she died of. And it's horrible because death is horrible, but it's not hard. And she was the magnet for millions of horrible, terrible energies. Like no one knows, the struggle a person that's targeted goes through, right? And he said to me after they stopped laughing, right? I want to try to take you there. And Maria was standing like right at my right side. I was so focused on the dude in the throne, stone chair he was sitting on, very big because he was very big. I didn't even notice that this Obi-Wan Kenobi hooded monk guy was standing 3 or 4 feet away from me. A little behind, he had taken a step back, like he wasn't trying to attract attention because he was Adolf Hitler. And should I even say it? I remember Maria said to me, "Is it is it a coincidence to you, Joe?" This is after I knew she was Maria Orsic. This is the first ritual after I knew. I was like, "Oh my god, you invented the UFO!" You know, oh my god. And she's like, "Does it hit you strange that Adolf Hitler isn't who they told you he was? You know, he was an artist, a painter. He's a lot like us. Like he wanted to get to the art, then government and, principles, laws of nature and the working man and their time, energy, life, health given to the state had to be equalized in an artistic way where music and creativity was brought to the forefront as the prominent culture. Like, what would be our rebuilt culture? Songs, movies, books, and they weren't. They seen the future, and they weren't going to let an artist lead the masses, right? And before that throne, after they stopped laughing, I said, "Why?" You know, and this is the moment I'm talking about. And I don't mean to lose you. I'm just sort of floating around in memory. I don't mean to lose you, but I was talking about the whole memory and its relation to the book Nos when the warrior Miguel Serrano met Irene Clad Serrano. He didn't immediately think, "Here's my eternal true love. I recognize her." He didn't recognize her. This is part of the story that we're so gone, so caught up in the other world, this world, the other world of money, economics, family, God, country, whatever. That when the real thing comes along, you don't recognize it at first. But she recognized him. The first glance, she looked at him because she had already read his books. She said, "The first glance said to me, I know who you are already. I already love you." And this was shown to me that I was trained like this by Maria on purpose as a child. That when I was a teenager, I would tell people like there was a time before the internet where it was hard to get a hold of things that were new, like music. And I remember saying to my girlfriend, like, there's this certain name of a band. I was like, I think I've heard a little of their music. I don't know, but the name, I know they're one of my favorite bands. And like Maria said, this is a real thing, a real psychic impression, note, echo. And he said to me, like, I didn't truly. They were laughing because they truly seen my face. Like, what? They were like, "Look at him. He truly is thinking. What are you guys talking about?" And he said to me, "May the 4th was really with you." And that was like the fifth or sixth time. Maria had said it a couple times to me. He had said it a couple times. And I'm looking like a dumb child. I'm like, May the 4th really was with me? Like, and they're laughing. I'm like, Star Wars? The force is with me? Like, they're laughing, they're like, "Joe, we're not taking Star Wars literal. The force is eternal true love." I'm like, "Huh? Yeah, okay. I get that." They're like, "May the 4th was with you, because 'cause I'm John May." And this was the second time, like, and they're laughing even harder because 'cause they're like, "He still don't get it." And I go, like a dumb blonde, I just my mind was blank. My mind was completely blank, and I went, "I don't know what you mean. What does Ja in May mean? The 5th month? Magic May? Magic Mary?" And they laughed. They said, "Joe, who are you gonna talk to in the morning?" And then and then the light went on. And then the fucking light went on, and I actually, you know, visually seen her email in my mind and me responding, and I went, "Jamie." And they laughed harder, and I went, "Oh my god, I put her name." This is what I said out loud to Maria and Lucifer. I said, "Oh my god, I put her name in my phone as Ja-me." And they're like, "We say Ja-may." And I went, "Huh?" They're like, "We're talking about her." And it was like a silent, crazy moment of like, "What the fuck is going on? What are you talking about?" And, Maria was like, "She's my daughter. I did this." She's like, "And I had to make you both wait to May 5th to talk." And it was like it shoved me into, like, other worlds, like, multi dimensions, because I've known Maria for 12 years at this time, and I was like, "You're so magic." Just at that thing, she's like, "I did this. I put it in her mind." I was like, "Oh my god, that's why you told me to talk to her. That's why." And let me, reset this, and we'll Okay, we're just gonna be picking up right where we, left off, and while I was taking a quick little break, Maria and Lou were telling me, "Okay, we're all one, so add this story into there." So the first night, totally by Maria's, and this is Lou's wife. Okay, I was talking about John May, and they want me to, you know, run these parallels of it. Like, this is teaching about becoming one. Even even if I fail at it, they succeeded, and that really is the point. I mean, you might be wondering, why do you keep saying that? Because that's how time, space, and chance really is. That, yeah, you, it's very much likely we're gonna fail here. But, the so I had Maria was completely, totally showing me, "I can totally affect your reality." She told me, "Do not call anybody or ask anybody for, mushrooms. I will supernaturally have them call you, bring them to you, or offer them to you." And so, literally a year and a half went by, And I'm like, "Hey, lady, I'm running out of mushrooms. This is like the last ritual next week. I was like, I have enough for next week, but not after that. I just thought I'd let you know." I remember saying that to her, and she said to me, "I put that in your head." I said, "Yeah, I kind of knew that." And she said, "Because I want you to, really get the point that we're not going to do magic mushrooms after next week. We're going to do ayahuasca." And I was like, "Wow, really?" I literally said, "You know about ayahuasca?" And she said, she said, "I am divine. I am the vine, the ayahuasca vine." Right? And the first time I did it was its own wild experience that I hardly remember because I threw up and almost no, actually I didn't throw up instantly. I threw up like a half hour into it. It was very serious healing. I remember just being like, "Oh my god, I'm being healed. Finally." And I wish I could say more about the very first time. It was good, you know. It was healing, but it was also hard. Like the I was like vibrating with something, and my whole being was like, "What is this? This is different." I didn't, and it's crazy because under a micro, and this shows you how untrustworthy synthetics are. Because under a microscope, mushrooms and basically all DMT, extracted out of 1,300 different plants and trees and stuff, are basically the same because they're just activating your pineal gland. But the key here, what I'm stressing, is the ayahuasca and charcuna plant that I was using were new to me. And I had to get to know them and I had to learn to respect and, you know what I mean? It's almost the awkwardness of meeting someone new. And, and yet at the same time, it totally, completely magical and very healing. Like nothing. I mean, I've never had the ridiculous thought that plants are evil. I mean, you got to be fucking kidding. This is your stupid Bible. Christians will tell you, I don't do that. Some plants are cursed by God. Reading Genesis, God cursed the ground, cursed the plants. I'm like, so you eat animals who eat the plants that are cursed, and somehow that you don't make any sense. That's why we're here to destroy the Catholic Church. And they're like, you sound like the woke. Nigga, I don't care what the fuck we sound like. I don't care what we sound like. We're not reaching out to anyone. No, we have never taken a single dollar from anyone, anywhere, to say anything like anyone cares. But on that second time I did ayahuasca, it was a full moon. No doubt, absolutely ordained and meant to be. That full moon was wild because it not only allowed me to see very clearly at night without any lights, I had a couple incidents with my neighbors, and I didn't want them to think I was crazy. Be like, yeah, you know, on the weekends, our neighbor sits out in his, lawn chair, his layout chair at 3 in the morning under the moon, like a fucking witch, which we are, right? And, you know, I was telling about Lou. This is Donna. She is the master of the fucking animals. I'm not kidding. She's like, I'm the moon goddess. My name is Donna. I'm who you met with Maria. I'm Maria's goddess. I'm the queen of Atlantis because my husband left out of India and toured the world and became fucking king. She's like, I didn't have much to do with it. I'm just along for the ride. I'm a dancer like Maria. It's what I do by profession. I dance. I'm like, yeah. She's like, I also act a bit and I write music. I sing also. She's like, sometimes I sing with my husband. And like I told the story before, my cats, straight up, they literally helped an elderly albino skunk, swear to the gods, over the fence. They helped the skunk climb the fence. They were like making sure that it didn't fall off, I guess, because it was old and it took a minute for her to get up over the fence. And the thing just came walking up to Donna. It was really Donna, who was standing there with us, the moon goddess. And I watched Donna and Maria just like basically play with this albino skunk, with the red eyes and all of it. And later, Maria told me, this is why I was saying about the lawn chair. Get your lawn chair. Because I was like, I don't know what I was doing, sitting under the tree on the floor. I mean, on the ground. And I'm like, yeah, the sun's so bright. It's like, the moon's so bright. It's like the sun. And as I told this story, but check this out. I never really emphasized this. I had like 8 cats at the time or something. And they're basically all one family. They're brothers and sisters and shit. And Donna was like, look, I don't want to brag, but I am the cat lady. I'm the real cat goddess, at least in this world at this time. She's like, watch, I'm going to call all your cats here. Because never did I have a ritual where they were all with me outside, And for one thing, I didn't even want my neighbors to know that I had so many cats. It was like against the law. And it's a crazy law. Since we don't want rats, right? And all my cats came, and it was like I could see them looking and watching Donna. It was wild. I couldn't completely see Donna except I had like flashes in my mind, and I'd be like, my cats can actually see her in this world. And she's like, my daughter, Maria, my little princess daughter, my little blonde princess. She was always like had a line of like, no one I love more. My beautiful blonde princess daughter. She's like, she's the lioness. She's the moon lion. She's the serpent with the lioness head. I was like, no shit. She really is. And she's like, watch. And all my cats my grass was kind of high at the time. It was in the middle of summer. And it was crazy. I had been watching these documentaries on lions and how the lionesses would get in the tall grass and hunt for the lion. And Donna was like, watch, I'm going to magically take your cats into, cat imagination and they're going to hunt for you. They see you as a lion. And I was like, they really do. They think I'm a crazy cat. She's like, I know. They're telling me that. She's like, watch, Joe. They all came around me in this chair, got in the grass, each one of them totally equally spaced, and like got in like the hunting position of like the lioness, even the boys, and just totally started acting out like they were, attacking something and just jumping out of the grass. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here? It was like a circus, and this invisible goddess was, conducting my cats, like getting them to do all this shit, which you can't get a cat to do anything. And she's telling me I'm going to get them all to, just like in the wild, they'll get around the male. Like the male lion might have 3 or 4 wives, lionesses. They'll get around him when he's sleeping and protect him. They were doing that. Each one of them perfectly spaced out, like they were talking to each other, like get exactly 3 feet away from me, an exact circle around him. And she's like, "Look, I'm gonna have them hunt for you." Uh, and they, like I said, they were like in there hunting. And all this was being shown to me, right? You might wonder, what's the point of all this? And like when I laid in that chair, she showed me I can stop the clouds. Like I couldn't even explain how supernatural the weather had become. And she was showing me I'm in control of the fucking weather. Isn't that what they say about magic? And she's like, look, and just stopped the wind, the clouds blowing, and just the moon was just there. It was like the moon was the only thing alive. Everything else was like holographic movie that could be paused. And it was just like, and then I was like in another dimension with her. And I went, you're Persian. And she looked at me and laughed and said, yeah, that's what you would call it. She's like, but my family goes back to India. She's like, that's just me, but I did. I lived in Persia. What you would know as Persia. What we would call Elam, after my husband. She's like, my husband, you just don't know. I'm who I am because of my husband. She's like, you wouldn't know me because my husband. Unless it was because of my husband, I wouldn't have the opportunity to be here. Neither would Maria. And she was telling me, like, Maria's my wife. She's part of my marriage, part of my family. We share a husband. I was just like, whatever you say, who am I? Tell me more. And she's like, check this out. Your mother has been telling you her God is imagining this world. We're in the imagination of the God of this world. He's my husband. She's like, check this out. Here's how I can prove it to you. Me and you and her, my daughter, wife, mother, we can stop time because time don't exist in the world we come from. So we have the ability to stop the matrix for a minute, stop the illusion. She's like, watch. And it just instantly everything stopped. was like, how, how? And then it started going. It was like 3 seconds. I jumped out of the lawn chair. I'm like, how the fuck did you do that? That's wild. And she's like, because I'm more powerful than the machine. I'm the moon in the real world. At least the fulfillment in my husband's fantasy. Do you hear me? I'm like, yeah, you are so. And me and Maria were saying to her, like, you are so beautiful. Like, your indescribably beautiful face. Like, I just remember thinking, like, damn, she has to be what they made some doll's face after. You know, like a famous doll's face. Like, that's the face. That's you. It's like almost looks Spanish. It almost, I don't know. It's the black haired goddess. It's, I don't know. She's Anahita. She's Danu, Diana, Parvati, you know. And yeah, I've told this story before. And she went on to freeze all of reality for like 30 seconds. And I got up and like walked around in it. And she's like, yeah, it's like a movie set of like the Wild Wild West. It's just like cardboard cutouts. And I instinctively went, even the people? And she went, yeah, most of them, unless they're real to you. And see, that's the thing that's always been being stressed to me, that on a practical, real level, you cannot. This is part of the four agreements, which we should all abide by. I don't, you know, endorse everything the book, but the agreements themselves. And I like the book. I like the book. Don't get me wrong. But the agreements themselves, you cannot create a fictitious fantasy and apply it to a real person. That kind of magic don't work, because that kind of magic is against their individuation, right? So someone can't magically be who you want them to be. They are who they are. As it is, so be it, let it be. I must have heard that 100 times that night before Maria and Lou. It was like passed around, you know, as it is, so be it, let it be. As it is, as it is. Fucking as it is. Like, come on. We're going to be real. We're going to fuck around. You're going to gaslight me. We're going to be real. As it is or not. Huh? As it is, or are you going to live in a fantasy that justifies wasting your life? Justifies, you know, wasting your life for economics, for convenience. And believe me, I don't like inconvenience. At the same time, I'm not selling my soul to anything or anyone ever. If you want to teach your children something, raise them on something, that's the main fucking thing. Be yourself and no one else. And Jah and May will guide you through. Right? And that's a little of the personality. And what a pleasure it was for me to listen to a person like Donna talk about a person like Maria. It was very impressive. It was beyond words, actually. There's something beautiful about the energy. I seen them, I mean, it may sound funny, but I, you know, watched Donna as we were like celebrating, and this was in the summer of 2023. And we were like celebrating that, yes, America, and this is what we're celebrating, the future fall of the American empire and all the misery it's causing regular people. And things were getting wild. Donna and Lou did a dance together. Perfect. Perfect. I mean, what a dance. And a little while after, I was talking to Donna and she was like, I want you to watch this. She's like, Maria, my daughter, come over here when you get a chance. And when she came over, Donna got up she was sitting down. She got up and hugged Maria and like kissed her lips. And it just like went on like a little longer than you would expect. And I saw them both like embrace each other tighter as they started kissing. And and then they stopped and they were hugging each other. And Donna was kissing Maria's forehead. And then Maria walked away, and Donna said to me, now that's how a mother really kisses. That's how a daughter really gives her mother a kiss when she loves her. I thought, whoa. Like we're on the level of literal and this is what I'm saying about the readings and race. This is the level of the material physical world. They're not, when they're saying mother, daughter, wife, they don't mean what we mean. And like Maria is here right now saying through me, and the quicker you start to think like us, the better, right? The quicker you do what's needed to change your mental situation, your mental healing, your mental progression, your mind, until you figure out what's beyond thought, beyond light, beyond love. What is real? What's beyond the fake? What is real? Is Isis, Ra, and El what's real? Is El Lael the real woman? Or is the Jewish Mary, who was the victim of a god at the age of 13? Is that, if Yahweh was 13 or 14, you could understand. But in this myth, she's 13 and he's a full grown man. It's just disgusting. What is disgusting? Is sex disgusting? No. Is orgasm disgusting? No. We don't think it is. The sacred fluids disgusting? No, we don't think so. What's disgusting is using deception, playing magic on someone else's mind to invade their thoughts, to read their mind, and trick them into saying, oh, I am kind. I am here to love you, to make love to you, when the obsession is a violent obsession with force and fraud, with the actual ability to trap some individual's soul and control them and rape them. We couldn't be more diametrically polarity opposed to every single form of force and fraud universally. No one has the right to break the blood brain barrier physically or astrally, physically or spiritually, you might say. Your magic must only be Just put it this way: the magic against your enemies can only be against your enemies. It can never be used on the masses. They must be allowed to choose whatever they want, because anything else would be force, right? Anything else would make us like the Christians. And let us leave you with this one thing: the reason the Celtic Druids, the Odinists, the Thorists, the followers of Freya, the daughters of Frigga, Brig, Birgit, Bridget, Birgit, Lu, the god of light, the reason we were genocided is we weren't evil enough to enforce our beliefs with the threat of death, because we understood that would nullify everything we ever taught. And people don't like it, but Maria from the very beginning has been saying to me, the world breaks down. The 100 billion fucking souls break down into three basic categories: the good, the bad, and the masses. She told me that's what your ancestor meant by you were initiated into the good. That's what they meant. And may the vibration of the Celtic, Druidic, Nordic, Austrian, Germanic, shaman of old, shamaness of old, Valkyrie of old, may they be with you. May we be protected from the energies of foreign peoples and foreign gods against our European traditional live and let live. It comes down to that, basically, right? May we be protected against anyone who would be against live and let live. What's wrong with that, huh? No. No, you have to worship the big banker in the sky. Or you know what? You can't have a bank account and you'll be kicked off of every platform in the goddamn banker universe. And to you, our friends, our blessed brothers, blissed brothers and sisters, may Dana, the moon goddess, daughter, wife, and mother of Lucifer, may she touch you in your heart, and may let the healing begin, right? Biggest Om to you. There's no place like home. There's no place.